Hello, dear friends. Only on the precipice do people find the will to change. Opinion piece. Global shock. New world. Resignations. Final chapter. Chaotic events. Flight out of the rats. Dissolution of Matrix. Sensing the new world. They know what is coming. Events that will shake the world. Undeclared war between three factions. Let's start. A global upheaval denotes a collective disruption of order or tranquility on a planetary level. The word upheaval comes from the Latin commotio and means movement or disturbance of the mind, as well as tumult, uprising, or disturbances of a people. This now applies to a global financial crisis, social or international conflicts, natural disasters, and spiritual events perceived as signs of a changing era. Chaotic events are temporary facets of the ascension process necessary to open the eyes of so many who are still hypnotized by what they see, hear, taste, touch, smell, and what those in power tell them, according to the Arcturian group. Feeling the new world. With the start of the new year, the energy has been shifting from moment to moment according to Kesharas. Consciousness itself has changed, and the world you move is no longer the same. Everything feels different because it is different. Everyday life carries strange intensity. Time, interaction, and emotions expand. You may notice others acting unpredictably or dramatically. This is the contrast between awakening and resistance. You are feeling the new world while shedding the last layers of the old. The final chapter of the Matrix is unfolding. The illusion is crumbling because its expiration date has arrived and it can no longer be sustained, while the collective attention shifts toward peace and unity. What comes next will not only change the world as we know, it will reveal a new reality. The divine plan is not a mystery or a complex outcome for only a select few to access or understand. It is the intention to spread love, to allow loving kindness to flow freely everywhere. That plan resides in everyday choices, in kindness, compassion, and presence, and it all begins with you. Countdown. It is time for humanity to realize that the world it has grown accustomed to for so long has an expiration date, and the countdown has already begun. Things will not continue as they are now. We are witnessing the dissolution of the three-dimensional aspects of life. You are shifting into a new divine matrix where true freedom can be experienced and life unfolds as it was always meant to be: peaceful, loving, and free from burdens. Unstoppable. The dark forces have been so lost in illusion for thousands of years that they fail to recognize a deeper truth. The ascension of Earth, humanity's elevation to the fifth dimension, is not something that can be stopped or reversed. From a higher perspective, this transformation has already unfolded. What on the surface appeared to be a struggle, delay, or conflict is simply the final shedding of all densities, while the underlying shift in consciousness is completed, anchoring itself in human awareness. Dissolution. The vast majority of humanity does not understand that what is happening now is not a political drama or another episode in world affairs. The world as we know it is dissolving. We are approaching the completion of the current evolutionary cycle. With this comes the collapse of structures that have served their purpose and the transcendence of the Matrix. We are preparing to emerge into a new dimensional realm as divine beings, with the help of angels and the light forces of unseen realities. It's time for humanity's resurgence and alignment. It's return to its original form of being, love as obtained by the Creator. Recognize the light within you and establish peace in your heart, for the coming days will bring events that will shake the world. Resignations. They are not resigning, they are coming forward, according to Mr. Poole. And if you pay attention, you already know why. The pattern is undeniable. In the last 90 days, 47 members of Congress will not seek re-election. Judges are resigning for personal reasons, in quotes. Media personalities are disappearing without explanation, and agency directors are retiring early. This is not a coincidence, but an evacuation. When rats flee the ship, it's not because they are tired. It's because they know what's coming. It's not a mistake. It's a push about to happen. These aren't traffic tickets. These are the names of people who thought they were untouchable. The same ones who are suddenly retiring and now selling their houses and moving assets abroad. They know their names are on that list. Every email, every transaction, every flight record, and every message. For years, they watched, documented, and waited. The trap wasn't set overnight. It was set decades in the making, and now the trap is being snapped shut. This isn't a conspiracy theory, but a conspirational fact. The evidence is there. Witnesses are speaking out, and there are signs of panic. Now, look at what they do, not what they say. Sudden health problems that demand resignation. Family members moving to countries without extradition laws. Liquidation of assets. Hiring defense lawyers. Every attack is a confession, and every resignation is an admission. They are no longer fighting for power. They are fighting for their freedom, and they are losing. This isn't politics. It's the biggest operation in human history. The dismantling of a global syndicate that controls government, media, banks, courts, education, and medicine. Everything. For centuries, they operated in the shadows, believing themselves to be gods, and they were wrong. The dominoes are falling, the rats are running, and the light is triumphing. For darkness to light. Full thought summary. There have been many attempts to settle the debt, but they have been rejected because they need debt bondage to stay in power. The US has suspended the sale of silver coins and medals. Guterres warns that the UN faces an imminent financial collapse. It is the collapse of an old network of control responsible for the political chaos in the West. We are witnessing an undeclared civil war between at least three factions. Elon Musk is considering an initial public offering of SpaceX in mid-June 2026. Leaked recordings from Davos reveal a plan for chemtrails to eliminate goat gene associated with spiritual beliefs. Economy. Paper silver fell from $91 to $76 in less than 2 hours on February 4th. The media says the economy is booming because GDP is growing between 4 and 5%. The stock market is near all-time highs. Inflation is falling. Unemployment is low. And AI is going to transform our world. According to their narrative, everything is fine. In the book The Surviving Explorer's Storm Warning, readers are confronted with an analysis of economic collapse. This guide dissects the interconnected risks of debt saturation, shadow banking, and geopolitical conflicts, revealing how these forces converge to destabilize the global economy. Bottlenecks and Chaos explains how global conflicts are not driven by ideology, but by the control of maritime bottlenecks, where trade and energy flows can be weaponized. China's Belt and Road Initiative is a calculated maneuver to circumvent Western control routes and colonize strategic assets. USA. President Trump will face impeachment. Few votes are needed. House Democrats are just 2 votes away from impeaching Trump before March 31st. Tim Budget says that Washington is not just a swamp, but a cesspool of corruption that thrives on taxpayer money. Alex Jones reveals Epstein's files. The Justice Department will not prosecute anyone for the Epstein's files. The fact that no one in power is arrested makes it clear that the system is compromised. Epstein didn't whisper it, he said it plainly. In quotes, I represent the Rothschilds. Jeffrey Epstein discussed with Bill Gates, how do we get rid of the poor, in quotes. A source claims that Epstein is alive and living in a witness protection program. Asia. India will stop buying oil from Russia and the US lower tariffs. Japan reappears as a financial black swan threat. Intervention to curb the yen's fall and rising interest rates are disrupting the global financial landscape. China unveils its space-based aircraft carrier capable of deploying a swarm of drones. China suspends its stock market operations as the market crashes and the real value emerges. China's pursuit of rare earth elements has weakened Western power. Iran has seized 2 oil tankers in the Persian Gulf. The US shot down an Iranian drone and attacked armed boats that threatened an oil tanker. Iranian speedboats attempted to board a US-flagged oil tanker. Iran summons EU ambassadors to protest the designation of the Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist group. An Iranian official told the Washington Post that the negotiations are impossible under the current conditions, stating that the demands are unrealistic and non-negotiable. In Europe, Putin's words: after the collapse of the Soviet Union, we thought we would soon become members of the so-called civilized family of European nations. Today, it turns out there is no civilization there, only degeneration. Spain. Antonio Escotado said that the far right doesn't exist, the extreme right doesn't exist. It is an invention of the extreme left, which needs a dramatic reaction. His idea is that it doesn't describe a real phenomenon, but rather is fabricated by political extremism to create an enemy and justify its discourse. Sabotage of aid to victims of the Dana storm. Galo da Bouza maintains that there was sabotage or deliberate inaction in the response to the Dana storm in Valencia, which aggravated the tragedy and the suffering of the victims. He states that military units were not deployed in time or with the intensity that the situation required, and that this was only possible due to an express order not to intervene. Corporal Eric Silva denounced this inaction and was sanctioned with an 8-month suspension without pay. Victims' Association agree that aid has been insufficient, unequal, and slow, and that there was a lack of agility, poor coordination, and politicization of the disaster. Africa. Major floods in Morocco forced the evacuation of half a city. Morocco killed thousands of stray dogs in the African Cup of Nations. New Zealand wants to exterminate its stray cats. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.